So it's a great pleasure to be in Amsterdam. As Eric and Rieke have already mentioned, it was the very first place that we ever had a Service Design Network conference in the year 2008. And it makes me very, let's say, emotionally touched to look at the journey that we have traveled. So I took the opportunity today to talk about the journey map into the future. And it's a different type of journey map because journey maps are, well, let's say, too much standard. So what I would like to do is look at the history a little bit, especially for those of you that are not yet so familiar with service design. It might maybe be interesting to see what is it that service designers do. And then I would like to, well, take a look into the future and dare to make some prognosis of what will be the most important topics for the next couple of years. So when I started to be a professor in the year 1995, there was no service design out there. It just did not exist. But of course, there were already people thinking about this change that our society and our economy were going to. For example, one of my favorite design theorists, Lucius Burckhardt, he said, it is not the tram that makes the transportation a successful experience, it is the schedule. And I thought this was mind-breaking for a designer to say this and to make clear that it is not about designing the beauty of the tram, the seats, the colors of the signage. This is important, but if the tram doesn't come, what is it good for? So it is challenging these designers to think about the value and not about the product. And this is something that really triggered my own development, and I guess in that sense also influenced the development of the service design community, that we have to stop thinking about products or technologies, but that we have to think about the value in use. So when I started, the time was basically ready. The shift from the product paradigm to the service or solution paradigm was already happening, but designers were just starting to prepare for this new challenge. And I was very happy to be part of it. So the very first years of my work were, let's say, experimentation. Can you imagine what it feels like to be a professor for something that doesn't exist? I tell you, it's fun. Because there is no obligations. There is nobody telling you what exactly you have to teach. There is nobody giving you the curriculum. You have pure freedom. That is business as unusual. It is very unusual business. So I really thoroughly enjoyed that time of playing and experimenting, but of course I did it in a rather serious way, and I brought some of my memories with me. This is, for example, a publication that we did in the very early years about survival station for homeless people. And that was the very first project in service design that I ever did. And it was implemented in Cologne in the year 2001 after 4 years of thorough public engagement. And it is still existing today. So if you ever come to Cologne, don't miss to go to Gulliver, the survival station for the homeless. It's a beautiful place. A lot of artists and designers have participated. And you get coffee for 50 cents and hot meal for €1. So I can really recommend it. And that was the things that we did. It was self-initiated projects where we tried to apply design to immaterial products. And we had not that vocabulary yet. We did not talk about journey maps and touch points and contextual interviews, but we did it. It was coming quite naturally that when you put a service challenge in front of a designer, that they would do these things. So that was really a lot of fun. We did first publications. This is ready for the museum, I would say. It's a German publication called Services Need Design, and it was done in collaboration with Enzio Mancini, whom some of you might know from the Politecnico Milano, who is now also founder and head of the DSIS, the Design for Social Innovation Network, and many other famous people that participated in this first book that came out in 97, 98. So it's historic. Huh? And of course, we did catch attention from newspapers and journals. This is a German business magazine called Absatzwirtschaft, and it was the title story, Service Design, in the year 1998. Do you believe it? Huh? Beautiful cover. So we started to do exhibitions. I had an exhibition in the year 1998 that wandered around Germany, Austria, and Switzerland. It was called From Servants to Service Design. And it was about showing how the development of kitchen-related services, so it was servants in the old times, then it was machines that the women would be serving. Huh? In that way, the machines are not a liberation, they just make the humans the slaves instead of having slaves, which is an improvement, but still you're in a prison of slavery. So service design in this exhibition was the future of designing services that really liberate and enable people to do what is valuable for them. Nice exhibition. It was in Vienna and in Zurich and in Barcelona even. So that was stuff that we were doing at that time, playing around, experimenting. 1995. And then something happened. In the early 2000s, the first agencies popped up, especially in London. The first agencies that really had service design on their label. That was amazing. It was young people from interaction and experience design that dug into this service topic and its live work and engine, very well known at that time, spirit of creation. And all of us got together in London to create the first service design network. That was very important because we started to realize that it's not only about playing around, it is about joining forces, and it is about creating a strategy how to make the discipline grow in expertise, in quality, but also in size. And this was our first manifesto, the missions and objectives of the first service design network. And from then on, we had a, let's say, loose collaboration. We did research projects together. We did small articles in newspapers of marketing, of service marketing together, just to grow the awareness of this new discipline of service design. In the year 2004 already, the RCA in London had its first Service Design Award. It was the first award that was dedicated to service design. You cannot imagine how happy I was when I read that. Service design is arriving. And a former student of mine, Stefan Moritz, went as a representative from the Köln International School of Design to London to present our project exactly today in the year 2004. And it was not only that we won the prize that day, but it's also that it is his birthday, and he's here today. Stefan, where are you? Oh, Stefan, back there. Okay, Stefan, happy birthday. So I think you can tell that I'm really enjoying this. It was a great journey, the first students that really focused on service design. And Stefan is now a professional service designer, a senior service designer in Stockholm. And for me, it makes me so proud to see so many students here that are now in professional responsibilities. But I would say at that time also the formalization of service design was moving ahead. We started to have definitions, we started to have a worldview, what are the principles of service design. We had a process and language related to it, and we talked a lot about methods and tools. It was a lot about methods and tools, and people really enjoyed to create a new method, to have design probe kits, to have great visualizations of journeys, to have wonderful storyboards. So having these beautiful methods was a lot of fun at that time. So this is the first definition that we used in the year 2004. Service design creates services that are useful, usable, and desirable from the consumer perspective, and efficient, effective, and different from a provider perspective. So service design is building the bridge between the user and the provider, as making experiences that are fun and valuable, but also, of course, profitable for the market. That was the first definition that we worked with. And we had this kind of worldview saying that service design is very interdisciplinary. It's not the designer who has the knowledge about everything. It is about the designer of drawing together these experts that help to understand very complex problems in a different way, by framing and reframing them, by zooming in and zooming out and redefining the borders of a problem, by looking at processes and relationships and visualizing these complex relationships in order to create conversations about them in a new way. It was about taking the deep dive so that you really do ethnography in the service design world to understand the user needs and to co-create with them, to do visualizations, to build prototypes that you can fail early, that you can test the stuff that you are thinking instead of sitting in the boardrooms for ages and talking about things. And of course, doing these iterations by constantly learning, improving, testing. So this was the worldview that we were developing in this first service design network, and then came Amsterdam. Amsterdam, that was the conference Connecting the Dots, Connect, Share, Enable, November 2008. And the great thing then was that the service design network that started as a small seed has opened its doors and said, we want to embrace everybody who is interested in service design, who is doing service design, and we really want to embrace the agencies and the professionals that are doing it. We want to have the companies that want to apply it, and we want to have the universities that educate for service design. And I have to say, I'm really happy today to see that we are this kind of a diverse network that brings together the different sides of the service design process, the users, the appliers, the researchers. And the conference for me was a really great start of a new era of service design. I brought another thing out of my little box. The service design network then put money into something to communicate. We paid, I don't even exactly remember how much, but I think it was 10,000 euro or maybe even 20,000 euro to The Guardian to have a supplement about service design. We wanted everybody to know that it is existing, and we wanted to share the projects. And I think that was a great adventure for all of us. We had never taken that much money in our hands before, and we had about, I don't know, 10,000 of these supplements distributed through the UK. And it made me again very proud, because suddenly you could see service design is applied and implemented. We had projects, we had successful projects. We had companies hiring service designers, Virgin Atlantic, for example. So the definition of service design has changed. Now, when I talk about it, I say it's about choreographing processes, technologies, and interactions within complex systems in order to co-create value for relevant stakeholders. And what you see here is that it's no longer only about the user, as it was in the early times in our communication. It's about the network, it's about the employees, it's about stakeholders in the system, and about the user. And it's about co-creation of value, and value does not necessarily have to be monetary value. It can also be cultural value, it can be social value, it can be ecological value. So that's what we have to do. We have to create value within these complex systems, and we have to measure the value. And I think that is something that started then in the 2012 years, when the Design Council came up with measurement of impact, saying, for example, that a service design project has a return of investment of 25 pounds for each pound you invest. And by the way, in the public sector, they found it is a return of investment of 26 pounds for each pound you invest. So we started to measure value. And suddenly it was out there, and the government of the UK said, service design is the standard process for our digital services. You cannot believe how happy I was to see service design and on that level of policy making. And suddenly it sets the standards on how digital services are created in a country. Great, isn't it? Okay, I have to rush, but I want to show one little project that for me, again, was an eye-opener. It was a Lufthansa project that started in 2014, and for me, it was the revival of a project that I had already done in 2001. It was the first big project where we worked with storyboards. We had storyboards for innovative user journeys on long-distance traveling in first business and economy. We had a theater director that worked with us in order to create the choreography and the tension and the suspense and all these things that could happen on a long-distance journey. It was an amazing project, and we had great visualizations. We worked with the flight attendants, with the travelers, and created mock-ups and prototypes of everything. And then we presented in Frankfurt on the 10th of September 2001, and the next day the project stopped. You can imagine. I still have all these storyboards in my office in Cologne. It's a big package, and it has a box, and there's a sticker on it saying Frankfurt, 10th of September 2001, and it still makes me feel very, very scared, because next day there was no more service design discussion at Lufthansa, until in the year 2014 they came back to me And they had a briefing that was so super professional. They said, Mrs. Mager, we have worked with service design for the last 10 years, based on what we have been doing together, and now we have a budget to do a big service design project, and we want you to pitch. And they gave me the briefing, and it was asking for everything, for the contextual interviews, the workshops, the co-creation sessions, and a one-to-one prototype of a Boeing set up in Frankfurt in order to test 2 alternative service concepts with the crew and with passengers for 2 months. I lost the pitch. IDEO did the project. Congratulations, IDEO. I mean, it's not that bad for me. And this project for me was also an indicator it has arrived. It has arrived. And so I would say the phase of service design expansion, saying that there is now a demand for service design agencies, and the companies know what they are asking for. It's not just as if they have heard this exotic word. No, they know what they want. And it is all moving from the front stage to the backstage. When we started early, we were on interface level. Now we are on backstage level, thinking about the processes, thinking about organizational culture, thinking about strategies. And it's all about the business perspective and the measurement of impact. So I could say that in the evolution, it was a playful framing in the beginning with a user focus, focused on methods and tools, building concepts that were very pretty to look at, and working as an external support for companies. And today it's about a strategic focus, a systems view, the change of mindsets in organizations. It's about implementation of these concepts, and not only building the concepts, and it's about building internal capacity within organizations so that they are empowered to do service design. So what's next? It is, of course, about this in-house service design. So many companies are coming now with innovation labs, business innovation labs, and they are driven by service design or design thinking. I've done a big study with the Deutsche Telekom about these innovation labs with my research center, and we did interviews with all these companies and even more to find out how do they build innovation labs? What role does service design play in these innovation labs? How do you disseminate this service design and design thinking in big organizations to make it stick? And these are really big challenges. It is not enough to chase people through a 1-day or a 2-day service design thinking class. They come back into their everyday life, and as we heard yesterday on Member Day, then the tasks that they get are not about creativity, they are about doing what is told to be done. So if we want to change this and make the innovation labs successful, we have to really think about them in a different way. So we created typologies of innovation labs, we created evolution charts of innovation labs, and I think this is an area that will be very important for us as service designers in order not to lose the authority about service design, not to give it away in 3-day courses and say, now everybody is a service designer, but to stay competent, to stay in control of what we are doing, and to make sure that the quality of what we are doing is good. I'm sorry for being late, but I will rush through the last couple of things. We need in-depth knowledge about specific sectors, so we are doing reports for special interest groups. Last year we published about the financial sector. You can see it on the book table, because we think designers need to know more about the clients and the domain they are working in. This year we published the report about the impact of service design in the public sector. It's a beautiful book. You can also see it out there at the book table, and on November 1st it will be available as a free download on our website. So download it, share it, spread it through the world so that people see the impact of service design in the public sector. It will be about differentiated capabilities within service design. Let me jump here. When we did this research on the public sector, we found that service designers are designing policies, but that is a totally different job than creating organizational change, a different job from doing training and capacity building, a different job from doing co-creation initiatives with citizens, or a different job from doing digital. So I think service designers will specialize within their domain, and I think we have to create transparency about what is real quality service design in the market, so that those agencies that are doing it, implementing it, measuring it, are perceived as service designers, because today I see a danger that everybody calls himself a service designer just because it is so super chic to have this little name, service design, somewhere in your business card. And last but not least, we do measure impact based on implementation. So it's all about implementation, and that is a weakness in service design still. I'm very happy to have a PhD student here, Tina Weiser. She is also working with BMW. She is doing her PhD on implementation of service design, and please talk to her if you want to. Tina, say hello. So this is what I would like to give as stuff for thought, as pieces for conversation. If you have thoughts about it, please contact me. Sorry for being a bit long. I hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed it.